Hello, and welcome to Walking and Talking with Mrs. Smith. Hello, and welcome back to my channel, and a special welcome if you're new here. Thank you so much for clicking on my video. I'm Mrs. Smith and I'm a Christian, and today I'm going to be walking in Herne Bay in Kent in the UK. Herne Bay, as you can see, is a seaside town on the north coast of Kent. I recently found out actually that the town of Herne Bay took its name from the village of Herne, which is about 1.5 miles from the bay, and that the word Herne means a place on a corner of land. Interesting, right? I learn a lot making these videos. I'm just gonna cross over without getting run over. So out there you might just be able to see there's the end of a pier, and apparently in the 70s the neck of the pier was destroyed by a storm and it just left the head, and they've kind of just left it there really. So I titled my video, I am not religious. And you know, you might be thinking, well, of course you're religious. What a stupid thing to say. You have a Christian YouTube channel. But in my opinion, and it is just my opinion, there is a massive difference between being religious and being a Christian. The other day I was chatting to someone and they said that they didn't know what they believed, but that they knew that I was religious. And I must admit, it kind of irked me a little bit. You know, it wasn't their fault at all that I felt offended, so I didn't say anything to them at the time. But I think sometimes people mix up being a Christian with being religious. And whilst you can absolutely be both, in my opinion, there are definitely clear distinctions between them. Now there is a little bit of music going on here, so I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to be copyrighted out of YouTube. So I'm just going to keep walking and talking until we get past this lovely band that are playing here. They sound pretty good. I don't know what it's for actually. Maybe it's some sort of festival. I'll have to try and find out and maybe put something in the description underneath. So yeah, as I was saying, I think there are definitely clear distinctions between being a Christian and being religious. And you know, while it's true that if someone is a Christian, it might mean that they are religious. If someone is religious, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a Christian. Just like all singers are people, but not all people are singers, right? And I feel like there is a stigma today attached to the word religious, like it's used these days in so many different ways. It can be used to mean having a faith of some kind, or in a higher being, or just attending a church, or being spiritual in some way, or belonging to a particular group, or doing things in a particular way. But the word religious these days is also used to conjure up a certain image, I think, of someone being, I don't know, holier than thou, or only being governed by a set of rules, or someone even being dull and boring. For me, I think religion is a set of structured rules and regulations. It's organised. It follows a pattern, you know, and anything, good or bad, can be classed as a religion. I could religiously make a cup of tea every night at 9 o'clock, but that wouldn't make me a Christian. So religion to me is like a kind of social cultural system. Religions do have some kind of history or story attached to them, which are preserved in traditions or sometimes in sacred writings. And they do use symbols as well. And religions may attempt to explain the cause of life, the universe and everything, or 42, if you like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like I do. And I can hear you saying, well, that sounds a bit like Christianity, to be honest. And whilst I agree with you that Christianity does have those elements about it, for me, it is so much more than that. So when someone labels me as religious, it irks me. I'm just going to go through these lovely people. Yeah, so when someone labels me as religious, it irks me because it means that they're labeling me the same as all the other religions out there. And there are over 4,000 religions that exist around the world today. And while there are some similarities between different religions, there are definitely things that set them apart from each other. And for me personally, being a Christian is very different to being religious. A religious person may have a strong belief in God or gods and may care about things like values, purpose and meaning. They may also appreciate, the wonders of the world and have a sense of humility or gratitude about them. But for me, Christianity is far, far more than that. Just going to show you Amy Johnson. So let's have a think for a minute about the 10 Commandments. You can find them in the Christian Bible in the book of Exodus in chapter 20, and they're mentioned again, I think, in the book of Deuteronomy later on. Just in case you don't know them, I'll tell you what they are. I think I've spoken about them before on my videos, but not gone into any great detail. So they are: don't have any other gods, don't make false idols, don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't lie, don't covet. In other words, don't be jealous of what someone else has. Don't blaspheme, keep the Sabbath day holy, or have a day of rest, and honour your mother and father. That last one I personally find a little bit difficult, but I get around that by remembering that you can hold honour to someone's position or name without agreeing with them or accepting their behaviour. That works for me anyway. God gave these commandments on Mount Sinai, and there was like earthquakes and a blast of a trumpet to emphasize the importance of them. So it's clear that God wanted people to take note, to try and live in that way. But I like to think of these not as a list of rules, but more as guidelines, on how to live a good and decent life. I think that when God gave human beings these commandments, he wasn't saying, if you live this way, I'll love you. He was saying, I love you, so please live like this. He was showing people how to be decent, how to think about others, how to treat other people, how to be kind, how not to be selfish. So for me, it wasn't just a set of rules to live by. It was the basis of our relationship with God. And also, you know, about our relationships with each other as well. It's all about relationships, really. So for me, being a Christian is based on having a personal relationship with God through Jesus Christ. You know, a Christian is a follower of Jesus, and they believe in Jesus' life, his death, and his resurrection. And they try to put their faith into action. So whilst Christianity might be considered just another religion by some people, it definitely has a key difference in that it's founded on a grace-based relationship between God and human beings, as was demonstrated by the giving of the Ten Commandments. So, what do I mean by grace-based? Well, grace is the act of giving unconditional and voluntary acceptance and or love to someone who may not always necessarily deserve it, right? So like in a human relationship, giving grace can mean committing to love your partner exactly as they are, warts and all, or looking past the things that frustrate you in the relationship, or giving your partner the benefit of the doubt, or forgiving them, or loving them anyway, or being patient, or never giving up on them, or all of the above. And that can't be earned, right? It's something that is freely given from one person to another. And in a similar way, in our relationship with God, God loves us just as we are. He wants us to be the best that we can be. He wants us to live decent, kind and happy lives, you know, treating each other really well. And he loves us. So, of course, he wants us to love him. But his love comes freely, you know. Every Christian in the world, everyone who believes in him, will express their faith and will worship him differently, will live lives differently, will attend different churches or not attend church at all. We are all different because that's how God created us. He doesn't want a load of robots all saying and doing the same thing. He loves our uniqueness. And when we do things for him, he uses our characters and our talents. But, you know, he also uses our flaws. He knows how we're going to react to things and respond to things. We're not perfect. And God knows that. But he loves us all anyway because of his grace. So I guess as a Christian, I believe that grace is the basis for my Christian faith. I believe I'm saved by faith through grace. God's grace is usually defined as undeserved favour, as I was saying earlier. And grace can't be earned. It's something that is freely given by God. And you don't get it by sticking to a set of rules, you know. Very different from religion or what religion means. As a Christian, my relationship with God is important to me. It's fundamental to my health, to my faith, to my mental health, to my faith, to my well-being, to how I feel. And it's definitely a two-way thing. He hears from me all the time. I mean, honestly, I drone on, and sometimes he must get really bored with my ramblings. But I hear from him too. Not quite as much as he hears from me. But that's okay, you know? Relationships are like that. And Jesus came to earth, told people to be nice to each other, and he was basically abused and murdered for it, all so that we could have that personal relationship with God. So it's the most important thing about being a Christian for me, and something that I personally feel makes it so much deeper than just being another religion. So I hope from my explanation here that you can see that Christianity isn't about following a set of rules or a pattern of behaviour. It's about having a real relationship with God through Jesus. So, while people might use the term religious when they talk about Christians, the word religious doesn't even begin to paint the full picture of what a Christian truly is. So I'm going to leave it there today. But if you are enjoying my videos, please do hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. Just under half of the people who watch my videos are not subscribed. And if you were subscribed, you would see every time I post a new one, and it would really help me out. So if you could do that, that would be fantastic. So thank you all so much for watching again, and God bless you all, and I will see you next time. Bye.